Our next speaker is Marc Pally. Marc is artistic director for Glow, which is a one-day event that occurred in Santa Monica twice, right, Marc? Yeah, twice. It's a part of the Nuit Blanche program, which is having light art installations where they're up for one entire night. So it's an all-night art event on the beach in Santa Monica here. And Marc's also an artist and a public art curator, and has managed many projects that use light, including work with Jenny Holzer, James Carpenter, and Christian Muller. So Marc, you're up.
Thank you very much. Good evening. As Glenn mentioned, Glow came out of something called the Nuit Blanche Forum, which started in Paris in 2002. It was a project of the mayor of Paris to remake Paris as a contemporary art center, to kind of reclaim what had once been this herald history of Paris basically being the epicenter of contemporary art. The city of Santa Monica decided, in its desire to remake itself as a center for art and culture, to use the Nuit Blanche format. The idea being that city spaces, in this case the beach of Santa Monica, could be remade not only in place and space, but in time, using the hours from dusk to dawn to remake what ordinarily is defined by recreational purposes into a kind of phantasmagoria of art and creativity. We're looking at the work of Ousmane Haque, which I think is a paradigm for Glow's ambition to provide participatory and engaging art. In this case, there are 8 microphones around the perimeter of this project. The microphones pick up oral information, translated into visual data, which is projected. In this case, this is a rear projection onto a water wall that's 80 feet wide by 40 feet high. A collecting pond was built on the beach, 200 by 60 feet, to make this piece possible, all for the 12 hours of Glow. So you can see the permutations that are achieved as the different sounds come into the microphones. And that sense of participation, we think, has many important and kind of stimulating neurological possibilities for people to cultivate this sense that behavior can modify and impact the environment. And art is a great medium for that kind of, that tool of impact. This is a project by a team called Green Meme, in which they recycled over 5,000 water bottles and created a floating sculpture about 300 feet off the pier with LEDs inside that responded to various ocean currents. A piece under the pier by Xishen Wang used common materials such as trash bags, computer fans, old Coke bottles with phosphorescent materials in them, creating truly a wonderland under the pier, which normally is a rather unappealing environment that's used mainly for moving oneself from one end of the pier to the other. It really became a space where people wanted to hang out. One of the issues that happens at Glow is the dance between advanced technology and kind of Luddite technologies. And in this case, the Office of Nocturnal Affairs was tracking sightings of wildlife that people were reporting. They'd wait in line. And when I say wait in line, we had 250,000 people at Glow. So people were waiting in line to experience the art. And then they would report what they had found, and it would be typed up and posted. Another example of a very appealing project that used very simple materials, acoustical instruments and incandescent lighting. This was called the Pirate Lullabies. This piece used black light. All of the equipment in the Muscle Beach area was wrapped in fluorescent tape, and people were invited to, under supervision of the gymnasts who normally hang out here, to participate in gymnastic events. A piece by Steve Roden. This was a film custom made for Glow, as all the work is. It's all uniquely made just for Glow. This tracks the coastline up from the pier north to Alaska and south to the tip of South America by hand-drawn very quirky kind of linear drawings. This piece by Yoshua Ocon, a Mexico City-based artist, used the iconic hot dog on a stick building to create a piece based on what he found to be a very interesting subculture, which is the pit bull community. I mean, it sounds weird to have a pit bull community, but there is such a thing, and he used it to make this film. The 8-story side of the Holiday Inn, the western-facing wall, was used by this interactive team of Free Waves and Super Ego for this very dynamic video presentation. This piece was a karaoke, so that people were invited to sing songs about the moon. There were about 80 songs from the moon that were collected for La Bella Luna. There's a balloon situated about 20 feet in the air, and it receives projections of the people who are sitting in the kind of Arabian tent, singing their heart out. This piece is by a Santa Monica architecture firm, Predock Frame, and they used 200 linear feet of the east-west axis on the beach with this kind of canopy of luminescent wire. And you promenaded basically from the bike path right to the edge of the water. This piece by Rafael Lozano Hemmer. By the way, this is the last glow. Some of these are mixing up the dates. This piece plays with the huge changes in scale which can occur due to the kinds of projectors he used. Here we see the actual full scale of the people with these humongous hands, which are basically recorded from people playing in a kind of a tiny sandbox, which we're going to see in the next image. So you get this escalation of scale from the miniature to the life-size to the gigantic, and people intermingling among these three scales. This is the sandbox in which people are playing with the sand. The camera then captures this, and its live projection then is magnified greatly onto the real sandbox, which is the beach at Santa Monica. So the shift of scale, this idea of participation, this remaking of how we use our public spaces, and finally this idea of how we use iconic images. In this case, it's Celeste Boursier-Mogenot, a Paris-based artist, is reusing the iconic image of the Southern California lifeguard tower, and it's kind of accretion of foam, and it's seeping into kind of the ooze of the primordial matter. Thank you very much.